I don't see any hands. Do we not have any questions? Oh, there we go. Adam.
Hey, Lincoln, just from looking at the depth chart that you released, just where do you see things standing between Shane Lee and Raylan Goforth at this point, and what do you want to see out of them on Saturday to kind of distinguish themselves?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna start Shane and Eric. Raylan is pretty clear third guy going into the game. We'll certainly play Raylan. Raylan's done a nice job for us throughout. I think one of the goals was kind of figuring out who that top group is, and we feel like those three have at least through camp separated themselves and earned the opportunity to all three play in this game. Still excited to see CV, excited to see Ray's John. Those are two other guys that we thought did some really nice things throughout camp, and are kind of right there knocking on the door of being ready to play significant reps as well. So we're going to evaluate production. I mean, that's at the end of the day, you got to go produce. And that's, we've said it from day one, we're not going to spend a lot of time on what guys did before. It's going to be based on production. That depth chart is based on production all camp. And then as the season goes, there'll be movements at all positions. We know that. But we do feel like we've got three starting.
All right. I will get a hold with you a little later. Okay. Thank you, Kevin, for the support. Thank you. Bye.
Greg, I think you're unmuted. I'll mute you. All right, Ryan Karshi.
Gotta love Zoom.
Yeah.
Hey, Lincoln. What is it about the tone that Alex Grinch just generally sets with defense that kind of jives with your philosophies? And also, what have you maybe seen from the defense since he's taken over that really gives you confidence that unit can turn around?
I think we both believe in culture first. I think we both believe in, I think our job obviously to put our guys schematically in the best place that we possibly can, but never let scheme or any of that outdo the mentality that you want to play with. And from the very first conversation that we ever had, when I was able to hire him a few years ago, throughout we're in lockstep there. I mean, we talk a lot through the season, a lot through the off season. In the season, we talk some scheme, but a lot of it is just our approach with the guys and just how we can get them mentally in the right spot. And really trying to do our best to shape the attitude that this team plays with and prepares with. And he does a phenomenal job of that. He's very consistent. He's intense but fair with the players, and has got a great way about him, and obviously has a tremendous track record of coming into new places and guys responding in a hurry and putting out high quality defenses. So and my confidence level that we'll do it here as SC is as high as it could be. I mean, there's, like I said, no other D coordinator that I'd rather be in this situation with. And because, his record is proven, and our record together, and the way that we work well together is also proven. And so that there's with somebody that's that important member of your staff. I mean, obviously they're all super important, but I think the fact that we've been through this before together, and he's been through this a couple of times individually as a D coordinator, is a good thing for the Trojans.
Antonio?
Hey, Lincoln. To the outsiders of the program, it seemed like Dennis Lynch winning the starting kicking job was a surprise. Based on what you guys saw, on the inside every day, what led to him winning that role?
Yeah, it's close, man. We got two outstanding kickers. Statty's a guy that really is a leader or just a really strong figure on our team. Hard worker. Dennis is a grinder. Dennis is one of the hardest working specialists that I've been around, to be completely honest. He needs to continue that, but his work ethic at a young age is impressive. And to me, it's just a plain example of us doing what we said we're going to do. And I know I said it previously, like what guys did before, we're not paying a whole lot of attention to. It's going to be about production, and it's going to be about results now. And the reality is They were both very good in camp. Dennis was a little bit more consistent, and therefore Dennis is going to be the kicker to start the season. We obviously have a ton of confidence in Alex. I don't know that I can imagine a scenario where you have more confidence in your number 2 guy going in. And Alex is still going to have a huge role on this team. I mean, no matter how that plays out, he's just an important figure. So feel lucky. I've had a few years where we didn't have any, so it feels good to have 2 guys that you really believe in.
Ryan Young.
For this week, okay?
Oh, it's still a little spotty. How about you type yours out and then we can ask Adam, who has his hand up.
Yeah, Lincoln, just how do you anticipate dividing up snaps at running back on Saturday?
We'll see a little bit of all of them, I would imagine. So we'll see kind of how it plays out. I mean, all 4 of those backs, Dye, Austin, Malik, Darwin Barlow. I mean, they all 4 are guys that you want to play. You want to get the ball, to all 4 of them. You want to give all 4 of them opportunities. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't know that I'd want to commit to something publicly on that, but I would say we're not in a scenario where there's not a scenario where like one guy, like we envision like one guy just getting a ton. And there is certainly a plan and a hope that we can get a chance to rep all 4 of them, because we do think we have 4 quality players in the backfield right now.
Great. Lincoln, Ryan asked, you've talked a lot about why you brought Alex Grinch here and what he did for you at Oklahoma, but what convinced you to bring him in at Oklahoma when you did?
Yeah, I mean, there was I think the main obvious connection would be, he was at Washington State, and obviously so many of those guys that were there I'd, worked with. So was very, even though I wasn't there, was pretty in touch with the job, that happened there. Cause I kind of saw how it was in the beginning there with the guys at Washington State defensively and the turnaround. And so kind of knew a lot of him, even though we had never met, never really had a conversation. And then, had a conversation with him after the 2018 season. And honestly, we had one conversation. I was driving home from the office one night, and we had one conversation, and it was like, I honestly didn't talk to anybody else after that. I mean, I knew, it's not like he knew what I was looking for. I didn't necessarily know what he was looking for. We'd never had a conversation before in our lives. And we jump on the phone, and he talked about what was important to him. And I talked about what was important to me and to that program at the time. And it just fit. It was just like, this guy is about everything that I felt like we needed at that time. And then the more conversations we had, the more sure I was about it. And so, yeah, I mean, I think the job he did at Washington State, there had just a reputation among a lot of other coaches and people that I knew very well and trusted very much, that have worked directly with him and told me kind of what he was about and the way he carried himself and the way he led the defensive unit. And then, the conversation was kind of the topper. I mean, after a few talks, it was clear that this was going to be a great fit.
Mark?
Hey, Coach. So the depth chart came out last night, and earlier in camp, you spoke about the offensive linemen that have kind of carried over from spring into fall camp, and they've kind of solidified themselves. What is making that left tackle position so difficult to take the or out of between Cortland Ford and Bobby Haskins' name?
Well, most of it's positive. They're both pretty good players. And it's been kind of it's been a little bit tougher just to pick out between those two. We felt like at the other 4 positions, we've had, clear separation. And we've had some other guys step up. Again, I think Gino's done some really good things at camp. I'm continue to feel like Mason Murphy has a real future here. I'm excited about his progress. But yeah, I mean, we have two guys that have, played some, 2 guys that are talented. They've been going at it. We've also knew that, you got Haskins coming off the injury, when he wasn't with us all spring. So it's not like we got to look at him all spring. Let Cortland's body develop quite a bit through fall camp, or through summer into fall camp. And he's been better physically. So yeah, I mean, I think it's been a matter of trying to get a good look at both. And we feel like we have two good players. I mean, again, to us, it's not like we're, oh no, gosh, who's our left tackle? We got two good players there. I'm sure they're both going to get some opportunities, and I'm sure that will play out as the season goes on. So I'll be excited to see. I mean, we're gonna give them both some shots, and they're gonna get each guy's gonna get their opportunity to prove that they should be the guy. And it'll probably settle in at some point, but as long as we're getting production at that position, I mean, that's obviously the main thing.
So over these next 48 hours, Coach Grinch said strain is going to be focused on for these next 48 hours, mental strain. How are you going to make that determination between now and Saturday? Who steps on the field first?
Oh, we got a good idea who's going to step on the field first. That's we just got off the field for kind of our last kind of real active practice. Well, I say we'll know probably by this afternoon and give the guys a heads up. But I mean, they're both going to play. I mean, there's no question about that. We're not just going to play one guy in this game. I don't anticipate. I mean, we want to see both of them. We want to give them a chance to produce, and once you get your snaps in the game, it's what you do with it. So guy goes in there playing super well, then maybe we'll stick with them. But certainly the plan is to give both guys a shot and an opportunity and see who takes off and runs with it.
Awesome. We have time for about one more. RJ, you haven't asked a question yet.
Hey, Lincoln. Josh Henson said that you guys have been working red zone basically since the first day of training camp. I'm just kind of wondering if you could give us your assessment on how the team's doing in those situations, maybe on both sides of the ball and then maybe on goal line as well.
Yeah, something that we've really emphasized. I mean, it's so important. You look at the stats, after the seasons year in and year out, and typically great teams offensively and defensively in the red zone are typically really, really good football teams. And in this day and age, the ball gets moved around some, and the days of probably holding a lot of people to 100 yards of total offense, those don't happen very often anymore. But so much of it is, how do you play in those scoring zones? And a lot of it for us has been, spring was really dedicated to, all right, you got to learn our systems, our terminology, how we want to do things. And then you got to understand when you get in these different situations, whether it's red zone or goal line or 2-minute or whatever it is, how the situations can sometimes change a little bit of what you do or how you do it. And so that was an important emphasis point for us this camp, is we had to be able to make that transition. So yeah, we did it early on in camp. We've done it quite a bit. We've done a lot of competitive work with it. And obviously, our plan is that shows up here throughout the season, starting here on Saturday. And so we're prepared, but we need to, when we get down there offensively, you got to capitalize. When you've had a great drive or something offensively, if you're down there, something really good has happened, right? That's the only way you get to the red zone. So if it is, you got to capitalize and score touchdowns. And then obviously defensively, our mentality is at the worst, make them count in threes. That's always been our mindset, is make them count in threes. People are not gonna beat us kicking a bunch of field goals. And that's always been the mentality that if something happens, whether it's in your control or not, and they get down there, we've got to be able to execute our calls. We've got to understand how the field space changes, and we've got to make people kick field goals or obviously get the ball turned over. So, it's been a big emphasis. Again, another thing that we'll see on Saturday.
Amazing. Thank you, Coach Riley. Thank you, media. We are looking forward to seeing you all at the Coliseum on Saturday. Have a good rest of your Thursday. Bye, guys.
Thanks.